Right chaps, I am at it again. As you can probably hear, it is rather breezy. I'm back on this small 4 acre or so club water that I fished last week, Thursday night. It's actually quite busy. There's 4 of us on here and there's only, I don't know how many swims there are actually. I'm about to lie then. There's probably 20 odd swims actually. I'm doing the sort of opposite of what you would naturally do in these conditions. The wind is pumping that way and I'm fishing on the leeward bank, so the wind is coming off my back. The reason being, really, you've got a couple of guys over there fishing sort of on the end of the wind. There's another fella over to my left on that bank. I wanted to obviously get away from those guys, but also I'm here overnight, so it's probably 6 o'clock now. And I will stay here until mid-morning tomorrow. Now, all day, warm wind has been blowing over that side of the lake, and that will be at the top, and it will be going down. What's potentially going to happen tonight? Hello.
Well, mate.
All right.
Good luck.
Thanks very much. What's potentially going to happen tonight is the temperature's going to drop. It's not super cloudy, and that wind is going to become a cold wind, and that will hopefully push the fish over towards me. And also that undertow has been pushing warm water towards me as well, as the day's gone on. The reason I want to fish this side is because of the nice, it's slightly shallower and it's got some nice fresh bloodwormy buggy weeds growing on the bottom. I saw fish feeding over on here last week, and I just reckon the fish are probably sick of anglers' baits being piled in over the winter and want to get on some naturals, and I'm going to try and take advantage of that. Sort of a flatbed method feeder, heavy, 50-60 gram. You need something heavy to set the hook, really. And I've just got 5 inches or so of 12-pound line and a size 6 barbless hook. It's with a little hair and a little tiny little wafter on there. That's it, method feeder. Use a little mould. Just need to put a fresh wafter on there and check that the hook is sharp. Better. Right. Now what I'm doing with this method is I'm actually burying the little boilie in the middle of the ground bait, just because it is a bit weedy out there. The way I do that, you just plonk it into the mould. It's a bit difficult to show you. That's bloody impossible to show you. Alright, so hook and bait goes in the middle of the mould, and you get a little bit more ground bait, just goes on the top, so it's right in the middle of it all. feeder goes on, give it a push, turn upside down, give it a push from the other side, and then you've basically got a nice little package that you can whip out there. It's way quicker than making a bag. If you're fishing and you're casting at showing fish, and you want to use a sort of bag approach, use a method feeder. If you're a little bit sketchy about the bottom, you can literally drop the method feeder in a PVA bag. You can lob some more pellets in there or whatever, a squeeze of liquid, whatever you like, and put it out there with a bit more confidence. But I'm pretty confident on a half decent bottom that will present. So I'm going to chuck that out now. Alright, this is the rig I use as often as possible. German rig, pretty short, fairly stiff. This is a stiff coated braid. I usually use a stiff sort of mono called Trick Link, but I think the colour of this is better suited to this venue at the moment. That's my only reason for using it, really. So it's a big curved Gardner, what are they called, something or other, rigger, yeah, a Gardner rigger CVR I think it's called. Big blob of putty. I don't break the coating or anything, and keep it quite stiff. I think it's harder for the fish to deal with. It's harder when they try and blow it out. It's harder for the hook to turn around and go backwards. I've got a barrel wafter on there. I'll talk about that bait and stuff in a little while. And yep, a bit of lead-free leader, dirty grate. 4-ounce lead, and that's going to go in the baiting pole, go out to my little spot with basically just a load of pellets. Give you a little pan of the lake. It's basically just a square pit, shallower down this end, and there's gravelly spots and weedy spots and shoddy spots and spots. There you go. It's not much to look at kind of above the surface, but actually I found below the surface it would be a very good lake for a fairly, I wouldn't say novice carp angler, but somebody who's getting a bit more advanced. You know, it's not runs water, it's got decent head of fish in the sort of 20 to 30 pound range. They've been in here a long time, they're not stupid, but there's nothing mental going on here. And so for somebody wanting to sort of move on to their next phase in carp fishing after doing the sort of runs water thing, this is the sort of place that would be ideal, really. Got me cuppa. God blimey, it's funny, I feel like I've got so much to say because I haven't made any videos for 2 years. I want to blurt it all out at once. I've got to be I've got to be conscious of just letting things flow. On my banker rod, which is the one that went out with the baiting pole, I got some Smart Mix pellets. I don't know if that'll focus on them if I put them near my bloody face. There's a company called BP Milling. Now I've sort of had my eye on them for a few years now. I don't know when they started up, but I saw them on Facebook, and it was mainly a sort of a pellet producing company, primarily for feeding carp, either in fisheries as a sort of supplementary feed, or for carp breeders, carp growers. And I was like, that's interesting, because it's a non-fish meal product. So it's cereal based pellets basically. And I kind of had my eye on them, and I actually went to make an order literally a month ago. It's something like that, about 4 weeks ago. I was going to make an order. I thought, could be an edge, it's something different. You know, fish meal pellets are brilliant, they work. You can chuck a handful in a lake and minutes later carp will be there eating them. But I just thought, you know, some of the places I fish are tricky, different, and I thought I'd give it a whirl. And so I've got all this stuff in my basket, and something stopped me from buying it. Don't know what, but I didn't buy it. And anyway, I listened to a podcast called Carp Chronicles. It's a couple of lads. It's mainly a sort of bait related podcast. It's really, really good. And they sort of interview, have a boozy chat, if you like, with a variety of, let's call them bait buffs, bait gurus, bait company owners, bait guys. I'm not a total bait head. I like to roll my own. It's been more of a hobby, and I don't get too deep into the science of things. I know the fundamentals. I know how to make a good bait. I like mucking around with new ingredients and this and that and the other, and now I'm getting off the subject. Right, back on the subject. On their podcast, they interviewed the guy who owns BP Milling, and it was a very interesting podcast. Listen to that, great stuff. And subsequently, BP Milling became a sponsor of the Carp Chronicles podcast. So I cheekily said, "Oi, have you got a discount code?" And I can't remember who got back to me, but one of the lads got back to me and said, "Yeah, just sorting it out. It'll be next week." And so yeah, as soon as that discount code was up there, I put my order in, got my order, and so I got 25 kilos of their sort of premium pellet. Then they do another pellet called Smart Mix, I think, which is a similar looking. They look basically like animal cattle feed, sort of sheep nut type pellets, rather than your more standard Skrettings type thing. In fact, I ought to grab one. There you go. These are the 12 millers, so they're big, chunky pellets. And yes, they do one called Smart Mix as well, which is a bit more expensive, and it has a garlicky oil on it, I think. And then they do some 12mm wafters to go along with it all. So I've got some of them, and I've got one of them on the hook. But I'm giving them a whirl. They're nice and big and chunky. One of the problems fishing on the Thames is if you're putting out pellet, or the roach, they just annihilate your pellets. Now I dare say they'll do the same to these, because these pellets break down. But it might keep them from whittling them down a bit longer. We'll see. And again, it's just something different. So I'm giving those a go this season. What else is there to say? Crikey. I've also actually bought a load of ready-made boilies from Rolling Baits. Now I've listened to Dave Moore, who's he's either the owner or the heavily involved with them, don't know what, can't remember, but he knows bait. And at the time of ordering, I didn't know I was going to hand my notice in at work and have plenty of time on my hands, and I wanted to have more time to fish, so I basically bought some ready-made freezer baits, which is a sin as far as I'm concerned. But I thought, if it gives me a few more evenings to go fishing, just if it's float fishing, like I did night before last, I can catch a few more fish. I like rolling bait, but it does eat into your fishing time, you know. But funnily enough, I forgot to bring any. I forgot to bring any of those today. They're all in the freezer still. I've got loads of base mix to roll up and use, and obviously you can also use that as method mix and just make paste and chuck it in when you're pre-baiting. So I will be making some boilies. I'll make some basic boilie videos, actually, for those that are interested. Some people, it's the most boring thing in the world, or it's too complicated, or they just don't have the ability to do it through time, space. You need space to do it, or just the motivation. I don't blame people for buying ready-made bait. You know, by all means. But you cannot beat making your own. One thing I don't approve of is shelf life baits. I don't think they do the fish any good. I don't think they do fisheries any good. Have you ever fished places that get hammered and they're quite good in the spring and then they switch off for the whole summer? That's those rotting, horrible ready-mades covering the bottom. They're disgusting. I think I'm going to settle in really for the night and shut up. Because as I say, I've got loads to say, but I want to save it for another day. So let's keep it short. That's the thing. I end up waffling on for an hour and a half and then editing it down to 20 minutes. It'd be better if I just talked in a concise manner about relevant things for 30 minutes and edited down to 25. But that's just the way things go. Right, I'll shut up now. Hopefully, next time I see you, I will have fish in my hands. And if not, I'll see you in the morning. Fishing. Okay, so it's gone over the quick change swivel bit. Now get in the chod rig. Sorry, that's clipping on. And little plastic bits come back over it again. Look, just lock that on there. That's a method feeder that I can basically punch out a lot further now, and that bait's going to pop up. Sit proud as goodness knows what's out there. I don't think there's any thick weed, and there is blanket weed stuff and short Canadian out there. So wherever I chuck this, I'm getting an attractive food parcel out, and the bait will be sitting up off crud. Quick update. Not a lot's happened. Nothing really. No liners, no bleeps. It's weird. I'm seeing fish activity where I'm casting. But yeah, really nothing. Wind's just done a 180, so it's now blowing down into my corner. Although it's a cool wind, it's in sort of northeasterly probably, so not brilliant in terms of fishing, but it's a change. The southwesterly that had been blowing was a stale wind. So it's a new wind. So you never know, it might bring some fish down. Yeah, just chilling and making a few rigs up at the moment for this afternoon. I'm going to fish my syndicate lake this afternoon. Can't film there. Not allowed. Shame. Although it'll probably be a blank, as this session here is so far. I'm still I wouldn't say confident, but it still feels promising. I'm recasting the method rod every 20 minutes. Same spot. I'm not clipped up or anything. But I'm pretty good at hitting the same spot. So I'm just got an alarm that goes off every 20 minutes. Reel it in, fill it up, do it again, bosh. Just to keep something going. Tick, 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 tick. That's about it for now. Very gentle bite. fucking lost it. Bastard. Bugger. There's a nice common as well. Took my eye off the ball to muck around with the camera. Gone skis. That was pretty annoying. There was quite a big bit of weed hanging on the lead core, top of the lead core knot, and it was difficult to get the fish up. So I dipped my rod tip down low, and then at the same time I came over to the camera to swivel it around to get a little bit of a better angle, and at that moment it came off. Bugger. That looked like a decent upper 20 common as well. It was a good fish. So I don't know, it might have come off anyway, but yeah, I think that might have been my fault a little bit. Well, I'm fishing barbless hooks here. I dare say, if that had been a barbed hook it would have been fine, but bugger, that's the first fish I've lost for a few years, I think. Oh no, because I lost one in November at my Syndicate Lake. There's a particular area where the coots have been diving regular, and I've been seeing bubbles regular, and I just cast it over there, and the 20-minute timer went off to recast, but I skipped it because I wanted to give it a bit longer out there, and it went away, but it wasn't really hardly a bite. It beeped twice, like the bobbin rose up a bit, dropped back, and I was just stood there looking, and then I saw the tip nod again, so I hit it. It was really odd. It was almost like, it felt like I couldn't really tell whether I had something on there. It was obviously just a clump of weed. It picked the bait up, got this weed attached onto the line, and it was probably just trying to shake itself off. Yeah, it's a real shitter, that. Gutted. I've been working pretty hard on this session. It's one thing I've said to myself this year: I'm going to work at my fishing. I was a lazy bugger last year. Apart from my little mini spring campaign, where I got things sussed. My main river fishing campaign was nonsense. I was really lazy, really bad. I watched a couple of podcasts. I watched Frank Warwick on the Nash one, and I watched Julian Cundiff somewhere, and they both made some very wise sort of points about not being lazy, try to be innovative, and and use your watercraft and stuff like that. And I kind of, you know, I remember getting an Angling Times annual years ago, had Julian Cundiff in it, and at the time didn't know nothing about carp fishing, didn't really do it. I did a little bit actually, but the picture of him and with this carp, it always stuck in my mind. And then I sort of rediscovered him a year or two ago, and he's sort of been very generous, and Frank Warwick, very generous with their information, if you like, and they clearly get some value from giving back to other people, and I found it quite inspiring actually. And I promised myself, I set an alarm on my phone that went off once a week, and it just said, it was quite rude actually, but well, I'll sum it up. It was Frank Warwick, don't be lazy, essentially. And I think that's going to hold me in good stead. But yeah, at the moment I've lost a fish. I'm not a crybaby. It does happen. I don't really get a massive emotional thing when I lose a fish, but it's disappointing, isn't it? You'd much rather have it on the bank. Right, well, as things stand, after losing that one and fishing on for another probably hour or so, I think we might have to chalk this one up as a blank, because I've got to get my skates on and get over to Harefield to fish my Syndicate Lake. Shame, I'm a bit put out by that, but that's what fishing is. Yeah, I'm just gonna basically pack up and scoot off, go via home, get some boilies, and then I'll get on the pit. Not much more to say, really. Obviously, if you like the video, subscribe to it, share it with your mother-in-law or whoever. There's going to be plenty more rolling as time goes on, especially over the summer months. It's terrible. It's really weird. You don't notice the planes when you're not filming, but when you are, you really notice them. Yeah, like, subscribe, share, all that jazz. I'm sure it all sort of helps. Not that I'm desperately trying to become a professional YouTuber or anything, but yeah, it's always nice to have more subscribers, isn't it? Anyway, I will say cheerio for the time being, and not sure when I'll see you next. Probably in the week. I might well go float fishing again for tench, see if I can actually catch one this time. So I shall probably see you then. Alright, catch you later.